The nation of Mali has once again found itself at the center of a major revelation, a revelation that sheds light on the constant battle between stability and destabilization, between sovereignty and external interference. A government communique broadcast on national television this week unveiled details of a carefully planned operation to overthrow the institutions of the Republic. What began in whispers and discreet movements has now exploded into the open, with the Malian authorities confirming arrests and exposing the networks behind a failed attempt to destabilize the country. According to the official announcement, this operation was not just the work of discontented local actors, but involved civilians, military personnel, and, strikingly, an individual identified as an agent of the French intelligence services. The government stated that national security services had been quietly monitoring suspicious activities for months, ensuring that every step of this conspiracy was tracked and contained. Their vigilance paid off, leading to arrests as early as August 1, 2025, and culminating in the public confirmation that high-ranking generals were implicated. The story begins with a man named Jean-Christian Bernard Vasilier, a French national who had been living in Bamako under diplomatic cover. Officially, he was presented as the second secretary at the French embassy, but intelligence findings revealed a different mission altogether. According to the Malian authorities, Vasilier was not in the country to perform diplomatic duties. Rather, he was tasked with coordinating and executing an operation designed to destabilize Mali's political transition. For an entire year, he had moved discreetly across Bamako, meeting with politicians, engaging civil society actors, and even frequenting popular gathering places to gauge public opinion about the transitional government. His mission, as described in the communique, was to bring together a coalition of disaffected groups, from dismissed soldiers to serving officers, from civilians to ambitious political actors, with the goal of weakening institutions and creating confusion within the chain of command. The plan was not only to undermine confidence in the transition, but also to rally support for Mali's old political and international alliances. According to the government, Vasilier's operation sought to reconnect Mali with its former partners, a coded reference that hints at efforts to reverse Mali's current course of sovereignty and regional integration within the Sahel Confederation. But the operation never reached its intended climax. Malian intelligence services, described as alert and professional, monitored every meeting and movement like milk on the fire. By early August, the net began to close. Arrests were quietly carried out, first targeting some lower-ranking operatives and eventually extending to well-known figures in the army. On August 7th, Brigadier General Nima Sagara was arrested. Just days later, on August 10th, Brigadier General Abbas Dembélé was also detained. The government revealed that both generals had allegedly played a role in this clandestine operation, mobilizing contacts and attempting to draw support from political networks. Alongside them, several other officers were arrested, including Lieutenant Colonels Baba Dembélé, Saibu Keita, Mamadou Dioro Diarra, and Salo. Captain Mohamed Ouattara, Corporal Amadou Boba Coulibaly, and Chief Sergeant Bari Karau also appeared on the list of suspects. Civilian collaborators were included, though their names have not yet been fully disclosed to the public. Interestingly, while the Malian government had been moving quietly, French media outlets appeared to be following the situation closely, in some cases even announcing arrests before they were confirmed. Reports circulated that French outlets described some of the generals as popular and sympathetic to specific factions, suggesting attempts to frame the narrative around their detention. The Malian government saw this as part of a larger disinformation campaign designed to manipulate public perception and undermine the legitimacy of the transition. The official communique, numbered 0077, laid out the government's position firmly. It stated that the arrests were necessary to protect the Republic and that the attempt to destabilize the state had been successfully foiled. The communique emphasized that this conspiracy came at a time when Mali, along with its allies in the Confederation of Sahel States, was working to consolidate sovereignty and eradicate terrorist groups that had long plagued the region. The text stressed that while ordinary Malians were uniting to defend the country and rebuild its future, a small group of soldiers and civilians, with the support of a foreign state, chose instead to plot against the Republic. The government made clear that the situation was under full control. Judicial investigations are still ongoing to uncover additional accomplices, but the authorities reassured the population that the attempted coup had no chance of succeeding. Citizens were urged to remain calm but vigilant, with officials reminding the public that every destabilization attempt would fail, God willing. The presence of a French intelligence agent among those arrested is perhaps the most explosive element of this case. His involvement adds weight to the Malian government's long-standing accusations that external actors are seeking to interfere with the country's internal affairs. While official diplomatic relations continue on paper, the revelation that a man with a French diplomatic title was allegedly orchestrating destabilization efforts will no doubt strain ties further and raise questions across the region. The televised report went further by presenting images of those arrested. Names and ranks were displayed to the public, underscoring the seriousness of the accusations. The government sought transparency, showing that the arrests were not rumors, but facts backed by visible evidence. Among the images, the face of Vassilier stood out. The foreigner accused of trying to pull the strings of Mali's fragile transition. His arrest, officials say, was proof of the effectiveness of Malian intelligence and their determination to defend sovereignty at all costs. For the population, the news is both alarming and reassuring. Alarming because it reveals how close the country may have come to another destabilizing event, one that could have shattered the fragile stability achieved after years of turbulence. Reassuring because it shows that the security apparatus remains capable, organized, and loyal to the Republic. In a time when the country is still facing significant threats from armed groups and terrorists, the ability of the government to detect and neutralize internal conspiracies provides a measure of confidence. This development also reinforces the broader regional narrative. Mali, alongside Burkina Faso and Niger, has positioned itself as part of a new Sahelian bloc, seeking independence from old alliances and pursuing sovereign development. Any attempt to destabilize Mali is not just an internal matter, but also a threat to this larger vision of a united Sahel. The revelation that foreign intelligence was allegedly involved gives credence to the view that these countries are under pressure because of the independent path they have chosen. The communique ended with a solemn note, invoking God's blessing upon Mali and reassuring citizens that order is preserved. The government promised to keep the public informed as investigations progress and warned that no attempt to undermine national stability would be tolerated. The story is not over. Judicial investigations will continue, and more details will likely emerge about the network of accomplices, both inside and outside Mali. What is clear, however, is that the government has chosen transparency, showing the public not just words but images and names. By doing so, it sends a message. The era of hidden conspiracies and unchecked destabilization is ending, and the Republic is ready to confront its enemies, wherever they may come from. This failed destabilization attempt adds another chapter to Mali's ongoing journey of resilience. In the coming weeks, attention will remain fixed on the investigations and on the international response, especially from France. For Malians, the priority remains the same: to safeguard sovereignty, ensure security, and keep faith in the promise of a new Mali.